Great, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another For Honor video, which is another special one because now I actually get to give my initial thoughts on the new conq rework. So I did a bit of so I streamed when it first came out and had a bit of a hands-on go there, but now I get to just sit back and actually make a video on it. So of course our first opponent is a Kensei. If you go on For Honor now in 1v1, you are going to find nothing but Kensei's, Berserkers, and the off chance of a Conqueror. And also some Highlanders as well. Those are the top 4 characters you're going to see a lot of. So, basically, my initial impressions of these changes are they're all good. They are all very, very good for Conqueror. I like them all. I like the superior block change. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's still pretty good. That's the most annoying thing Kensei has is that bop. It's just... ugh, so hard to deal with at the moment. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's hard to deal with at the start, but I can see it getting much... oh. Well, oh well. It's bound to happen with this many shove moves. So basically Conqueror now has about 16 different types of shield bash, which is really fucking weird, but yeah, so... the theme with Conqueror, in fact a theme with a lot of these reworks, is low but consistent and easy to get damage. So Conqueror can get lights really, really easily, because if you look there, so what I'm doing now, basically Conqueror has 100 millisecond unblockables, which is insane. I think that's probably makes it the one of the fastest moves in the game, maybe the fastest move in the game at 100 milliseconds, but yeah, it's pretty insane. So it's basically completely changed his shield bash game. So despite them nerfing the amount of stamina damage it does, it is still insane because you can get the shield bashes off much easier, and it's much easier to scare people into dodging so you can get a free guard break. So basically, Conqueror is a god now when they're out of stamina. When they're out of stamina, as long as they're not an assassin and they can't dash away, they are fucked. It's just that simple. I mean, I used to have the policy of when... oh yeah, the flail uppercut is also really cool. I haven't quite worked out the best way to use that, but it is a very handy move, and I think mastering that will be the key to making Conqueror, like, super top tier. So, well, he's already top tier. So now, I'll just give you quick thoughts of my thoughts of the, like, tier list now. So before, my tier list was Shaman at the top, very top. Then about 10 paces down from that, it was Shinobi, Gladiator, and then... who was the last one? Can't fucking remember. But it was those top... they were at the top 3. Now, I'd say it's more along the lines of... Shaman's still at the top, then I'd say Berserker, then Kensei, then Conqueror, and then Shinobi, and then Gladiator. That's my new tier list. So the top 3 are now Shaman, Berserker, Kensei, and very closely followed by Conqueror. Having said that, though, with these reworks, I get the kind of feeling that Conqueror is the worst out of the 3 at the moment. But then again, it did take about, like, 6 months into the game's release to discover the best way of playing Conqueror, which was, the way I was playing constantly, which is shield bash, zone, and do the heavy from the light shield bash and lots of deflects and shit. Now, I think what's going to happen is another few months down the line, someone's going to find something ridiculous with Conqueror, and he's going to, rocket to the top of the tier. Well, not... above Shaman. I doubt anything could put him above Shaman, but he's going to find something which makes him very godlike. But as it is, people are still working out a lot of stuff. Like, currently, as it is, the people seem to be very upset with the shield uppercut. So what that is when you go into your heavy attack, but you soft feint it into an unblockable shield, which gets you a guaranteed light. That's the move I'm doing now. So that gets you a guaranteed light, and everyone's really pissy with it because they say it's got godlike tracking and blah 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 blah. But it's the same sort of thing as Highlander's Caber Toss when it first came out. If anyone remembers that. When Highlander first came out, everyone was like, oh, the Caber Toss, it's so OP, it grabs you from anywhere, it's like ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. This is the same thing. People are calling it OP at first, but it's actually really easy to dodge, and even if you do dodge it, you get a full guard break punish. So, you know, guard break into heavy, blah, 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 whatever you want. So it's not that good. That's not going to be the thing that makes Conqueror fantastic. The things that make him fantastic at the moment are his shield bash, which is now 100 milliseconds, which is insane. His zone is now it's insane. It's a really fast move. It only does 10 damage. It's really fast, but it has superior block on it. So it's basically, it keeps you safe from every single option, more or less, apart from unblockables. And coming to unblockables as well, you can actually use the parry to the zone to parry, which basically makes you completely safe when you do it. So it's the zone makes you probably the most turtly character in the game. So I'd say the best zones in the game would be Gladiator, Conqueror in order. Gladiators, Conquerors, and actually now probably Kensei's, because not many people have been abusing it, but Kensei's zone is insane. So it's lightning fast, it does 20 damage, which is quite a lot actually. It's 20 damage, and I've tested the range with it, and it's got insane range. So it's like PK's zone times 2. Oh fuck, my bad. But yeah, it's like PK 2.0, but it does more damage, and he's got more options. More options than PK as it is anyway. So good Kensei's are going to have a field day with that. As soon as they start realizing they can abuse the zone, it's going to be like a PK apocalypse all over again, but this time with Kensei. At the moment, it's really the Kensei apocalypse, but I'm thinking as soon as people discover the fact that Berserker is probably miles better than Kensei and Conqueror, a lot of people are going to start hopping on him. So now, the other thing that's really good with Conqueror is his lights are now 500 milliseconds, which makes it, yeah, you can just see. I knew I was going to do it, I even dodged to the side to get out of it, but, you know, it's very tricky at the moment because I haven't quite worked out the timing. But yeah, the main thing is about the lights is they're now 500 milliseconds, which means A, they are much harder to parry in a chain, or just in general, and B, as because of all the parry changes, you can just throw them out willy-nilly. So, I keep, like, shield bashing, and I do keep forgetting to do more lights after it, but it's actually very, very beneficial to just shield bash, light from another side, because it's just so fast. And even if you don't want to do that, you've got so many options off a light from a shield bash. So now he's out of stamina, he's going to regret it. So what you can do off any light hit is you can do the heavy shield bash, which doesn't let you a heavy, but it lets you a light. You can just see how powerful the out of stamina mix-up is now. It's just, oh, so godlike. Get out of stamina, you are probably going to die. My rule of thumb before was, get out of stamina against Conqueror, you're guaranteed to lose half your health. Now it's more like you're guaranteed to die. It's pretty insane. So the lights have a lot of options off them. So you can light into another light, which can obviously then chain into absolutely anything, because now they've made it so that Conqueror's infinite chains chain from anything. So you can go from a light into a heavy infinite chain, you can go from a heavy into a light infinite chain, vice versa, blah, blah, blah. The lights now, so what you can do, hit them with a light, hit them either with another light, you can change that to a heavy if they start parrying the second light, which most people will not be able to do. So no real need to change it up for a heavy. What you can do, though, off a heavy, is feint it into the full block stance. So if people have got dodge attacks, they'll dodge, hit the full block, and you can get the flail uppercut, which nets you a nice amount of damage. You can feint the light... you can do the light into the heavy shield bash, I already told you that. And you can also do the light into a heavy and soft feint that into the shield uppercut, which gets you another light. So he's got a lot of options now. From going from only 3 options to having about 50 options, it's quite a change of pace, I'll be honest. He's much less turtly now, but Conqueror still can be the turtle god. Like, if you want to guaranteed win matches, you just got to turtle to, you know, the best of your ability as Conqueror, but of course, with all this new stuff, you just feel like you got to use it. So I'm trying to work out best uses for everything at the moment, but yeah, he now seems to be able to play the best of both worlds, defensive and offensive. So he's a god in both respects. Getting past that, getting onto the other characters. So Kensei, I'd say, is probably the one I want to talk about most next. So Kensei is okay. He's gone from, again, it's the same theme as Conqueror. He's gone from the bottom of the tier list. Well, Conqueror wasn't really at the bottom when people discovered the bugs and stuff, but he's gone from, Kensei has truly gone from the bottom all the way up to the top. Like, it's ridiculous how much this character has changed. It's an entirely different feeling fighting him, using him. So the main thing now is Kensei, there's no point in ever trying to parry a Kensei, more or less, because Kensei now can feint his heavies into, I think from his overhead heavy, he gets 4 options. So he can let the heavy go, he can feint into the sides, 400 millisecond light to the side, by the way. That's Highlander's offensive stance lights, which are, well, you've probably played against them, you know how insanely hard they are to block, let alone parry. So he can feint into the sides with a 400 millisecond light, which actually, instead of getting him 10 damage, unlike Highlander's bops, it actually gets him, I think, 19 damage or 17 damage off those lights, so it's a hell of a step up, lots of damage. He can soft feint them into heavies, so if you do start trying to dodge out of the lights, which you can, it's quite tricky, but you can do it. So if you try to dodge out of the light, you can get hit by the heavy. He can soft feint his heavies into a guard break, so yeah, that's also insane. And if he lets it rip, he can then immediately go into the, or he can let it rip and then go into the heavy afterwards. So he's not short on options off that one move. So that's just one move he's got, and that one move alone makes him, you know, incredibly godlike. So my rule of thumb against Kensei now is never, ever try to parry him. So that's fine for Conqueror, because now he's got the full block and he's still got the great deflects and whatnot, but I think it's probably going to be a nightmare for nearly everyone else to deal with when Kensei's have truly worked out the godlikeness of being able to feint that move into 4 different options. So yeah, he's just off that, he's very good. The next thing is probably his bop. So after playing with his bop a bit and getting smacked in the face with his bop a lot, I can say it is incredibly good. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Top heavy into the bop is the other option that I forgot. Yeah, he can bop you and get a guaranteed 17 damage light after that. So yeah, it's there's no turtling against him either, so because he's obviously got that option, which he can. So the thing is, he does the forward heavy, the overhead heavy, and you think he's going to do the bop, so you dodge to the side. What does he do? He can soft feint that into a guard break. So people haven't started doing it yet, but when they do, it's going to be like that. You have to take the. I mean, you can't dodge away from it. It's insane. So yeah, his bop is also another tool that has made him incredibly godlike. Now the next thing is his dodge attacks have now been changed from lights to heavies, so they bash around your defense a bit. They're not that bad. I mean, they're very good dodge attacks as dodge attacks go, but you know, at least they can't be feinted into other stuff. Like I would have expected them to go all out and just make that really OP as well, but they didn't seem to go that far. Speaking of, I'm just going to see if I can get another match before I continue rambling, because that's probably the best thing to do. Oh, Kensei. Of course there's another Kensei. You're going to run into nothing but Kensei nowadays. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Kensei. Right, so Kensei. God, I'm going to stop saying that word now, just because I said it about 5 times in 5 seconds. Right. So, this character, the true weeb, the Honor Weeb, yes, let's call him Honor Weeb. He is got a lot of very good stuff now. is the is the simplest way to put it. He's gone from the bottom to the top with a lot of very good moves. I don't really know if I can put it in. Oh shit! It's all right. It's all right. Dedicated serves in a couple days. It's fine. Don't have to deal with this too much more. Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see what players come up with for Kensei, because it's like stuff people are doing at the moment barely scratches the surface. Like people haven't worked out the optimum moves to use yet, but oh fuck. Okay. Never mind then. Right. Back in a second. Okay, we're back. We found the same guy again, of course, because you're gonna bump into that a lot, because for some reason, jewels are on low activity. Weird. Yes, so... talking about Honor moves, and this, and that, and... Yeah, so... Kensei... Like, it's the same with all the characters, actually. People haven't worked out the optimum shit to use, and what out of the new moves are complete garbage. So it's in that sort of stage where everyone's using everything, which is really fun, because, you know, you get a good chance to, well, experience everything, see what everyone's using, and, you know, all the new moves look quite sexy, so it's a good display. But, yeah, it's going to boil down to a point where eventually... I believe it's going to get to the thing where it's there's only going to be there's going to be more than 3 moves at least with Conqueror nowadays, you can be sure of that. But, you know, there's going to be a very limited number of moves that people are actually going to start consistently using, because those are the only moves that are worth using. And it's going to be the same for Kensei, Berserker, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, not there yet. Seeing a lot of good stuff. So, on the topic of Berserker, actually, so I've talked a lot about Kensei, talking a lot about Conqueror. By the way, we'll be making a full in-depth breakdown of Conqueror's moveset and what I think you should use and not use and all that sort of stuff later. But for now, it's just good to give initial impressions. So I fought a few Berserkers. There are way less Berserkers than Kensei. So the main thing you're going to see are, well, all Kensei. Next most Berserker, then Conqueror, then Highlander. But Berserker, the reason why he's so goddamn strong now is because, well, mainly because he has hyper armor on everything. He's like, you've got to think of Berserker as a new Shigoki, more or less. He has hyper armor on every single one of his moves. Even fainting moves gives him hyper armor. All you got to do is a light into anything, and it will have hyper armor. Even if you feint that second move into another light, you'll still have hyper armor. So there's no interrupting Berserker. Parrying is incredibly risky because he can feint his moves into 400 millisecond lights. So again, the Kensei problem, whereas there's no point in trying to parry. It's even worse with Berserker because you not being able to parry Berserker safely, or, well, it's not whether it's safe or not, it's because it's completely not worth it, because most of the time you're going to be wrong. Like, it's just... All I can say is it's not fair, the way it's built at the moment. But I don't know how they're going to change it. They're probably not, considering he's an assassin, and Ubisoft seems to have a real fetish for assassins. But, yeah, it's the same problem as there's no point in ever trying to parry Berserker. Having said that, he does have his unblockable option. So the real reason why Berserker is so good at the moment is because he can do a single light into his unblockable heavy finisher from the overhead, which also has hyper armor. So it's a really slow move. You can't hit him out of it. He can feint it, so even if you do try and go for the parry, he can feint it into a dodge attack, so immediate dodge attack. So if you ever go for the parry, he can just dodge to the side and hit you with a light. Even then, he can just cancel it and hit you with a 400 millisecond light from the side. So, you know, it's so hard to deal with that mix-up. You know, and even if you do get the parry, you only get a light punish off of it, which is how it's built now, but, you know. And another thing, Berserker probably has one of the best parry punishes in the game now, because of a heavy parry, you're only supposed to be able to get a light move, or something that comes out as fast as a light. And so that does usually low damage. But with the case of Berserker, he can actually get 30 damage still, because his zone is still, you know, does a shitload of damage. So Berserker, still one of the best parry punishers in the game. Let me just find another match, because it's boring looking at a screen while I'm just talking about random shit. Oh good, bumped into him again. It's gonna happen quite a lot. Yeah, so apart from having the best parry punish in the game now, or one of them for sure, he also gets the you know, he has access to one of the best unblockables in the game. So he's got the side heavy finisher, which actually does, I think 35 damage now, so it does more than the overhead unblockable now. So the way they balanced it is, or tried to balance it, is they made his Berserker's overhead unblockable do a bit less damage. So it only does 30 now, I think, but considering that it's unblockable and there's almost no way to safely stop it, I think that's probably a little bit too much. Oh, well, actually, way too much. So Berserker's playstyle is actually a lot simpler. I mean, in fact, there's very little skill involved with a lot of these new changes. With Kensei and Berserker in particular, it doesn't take much skill to do quite well with their things. I mean, with Conqueror, again, you can just shield bash spam, and that is no skill whatsoever to do. But if you want to play him well, you got to master things like the charged up heavy, and using superior block on heavy attacks, and the full box stance, which even I haven't done yet. So you know, I'm just playing him like a complete noob, which everyone is at the moment, to be fair. So it's very easy to do well with all the reworked characters, I'll say. Easiest so with Berserker, because all you need to do is spam some, you know, spam a light, and then go into overhead unblockable, and then you can feint that into whatever you want. You can feint it into a guard break, so, you know, easy side heavy there. You can soft feint, or not soft feint it, but you can feint it into a 400 millisecond light, so another real easy amount of damage right there. You can dodge to the side if someone's trying to dodge out of it. You can dodge, attack, follow them to hit them. So it's a real clusterfuck at the moment, is all I can say. I think Ubisoft did quite a bad job in... I think they underestimated how good these changes would be. Like a lot of things, they underestimated how good Shaman was, I think, and they're still not doing anything about it. So the problem I'm having with it all is they're not going to do anything about anything that seems particularly OP. Like Kensei is really good now. He's top tier. But I can deal with him. I can deal with all of his options in some manner. As Conqueror, I'm not sure if it's a problem for other characters. Probably is something that, you know, he's got on them. But I can deal with Kensei quite happily. It can be a tough slug sometimes, but it's fair at least. It's an evenly matched battle of two high tier characters. When it comes to Berserker, it's quite different. It actually feels unfair. Like, it's the same thing as fighting any shaman. Like, you could be an expert with a gladiator. You could be a top-tier gladiator. But you are still going to be at a disadvantage against a mediocre shaman. Like, you know, just because she's got so many options and so many tools for everything you have. Same thing with Berserker. Slightly less so. It's not as bad as shaman, but it's still... you know, up there in... It's one of the very few characters I verse where I feel it's unfair. Like, some of the stuff they can do is unfair. Like, for instance, if, you know, they get close to you, they throw a light, maybe you block it, or maybe they throw a light and you're a bit far out of their range, so it doesn't hit you. Then they go into the overhead heavy. Then, of course, on reaction, you wait to parry it. They can either feint that into a 400 millisecond light from the side, go into the overhead heavy again, and then they can feint that into a guard break or whatever, it's a bit too blendery. Is all I can say. It feels like you're in a blender against Berserker, and there's nothing you can do except hard read, and that means just like you have to predict what they're going to do in the future, not actually react to it, which is not very fun at all. So yeah, I really hope they're going to do something with him, but I don't think they are. Oh my god, it's a miracle. It's not a Kensei Berserker. Actually, I'm just happy it's not a Kensei or Berserker. It's really rare finding like a stock character now, but it's kind of bad because all the characters that weren't changed in any way are basically always at a disadvantage against the reworked characters now. Like Berserker, I used to think it was Conqueror v Raider. I used to say safely it was a true 50-50 matchup. One of the rare ones, I think one of the very few matchups in the game where it was like 50-50, you know, character-wise. So it was basically down to pure player skill. Apart from, you know, if you're facing a mirror match, which is rare, and it also comes down to player skill. But now I feel like it's completely skewed. So now it's kind of sad actually, because it's no longer 50-50 when you're versus a raider. It's no longer complete skill versus skill. Now it's my character has an advantage against you. Fuck you. And I bet that's no fun to play against. I haven't played Raider, but I don't really want to, because he was forgotten in the changes, and because he was forgotten, he seems kind of weak. Like, not being able to get a GB off a parry seems to... I imagine it completely fucks over Raider. And, you know, I feel sorry for people that are still playing the stock characters. I know they love them, but you know, it just doesn't look very fun. Look how easily I'm just smacking this guy about. It's no fun for him, probably. I mean, he might be into that thing, but who knows? So yeah, this has been my basic thoughts on the top 3 reworked characters. I'll probably make a specific video for Highlander just because I wanted to make him one of my mains, but he was a bit too just lackluster. Now he's actually got some oomph behind him, so I feel like Highlander deserves a full video to itself. Same as Conqueror. Well, I mean, this is obviously a video to it, but I want to make it proper. I want to do, like, you know, lots of flashy editing and shit. But I fell for it. I'm so dead. Yeah, I want to do lots of good stuff when I make the full Highlander thing, and then after that, Conqueror thing, and then after that I'll make the full Conqueror guide, because by then I think I would have probably played around with them enough to know what's good in this initial. Well, it'll be an initial guide, I'll say, because chances are you'll be able. Oh well, I and the community as a whole will find some very good stuff to use with all the new characters, not just Conqueror, but all the new characters. So yeah, on that note, what I feel like I'm gonna do is, so I streamed the day the update came out because I thought, you know, it'd be good to showcase my initial reaction. It was actually quite good. Had a pretty consistent average of like 20 something, which I'm happy with on my with my sort of amount of streaming. But so what I'm going to do is, because the majority of my audience is American, I feel like changing it up a bit, because I want to stream for you guys for a change. So I'm talking directly to the audience in the Americas. Yeah, I want to stream for you guys for a change. So what I'm going to do is what am I going to do? Yeah, so today, okay, to make it simple, I'm going to say the 18th. It's just because I don't know when this video is going to come out, but it's going to be at a weird time because I'm recording at a very weird time. On the 18th at 12 or 11 or 12 GMT, I'm going to start PM GMT. I'm going to start my Twitch stream, and that way it'll be like 4 PM for you guys in America, so it should all be good. Hope to see a lot of you guys there. I really want to actually hear your thoughts and tips and stuff, because that's the best way to learn a new character. Help from the community. Hope you enjoyed. See ya!
Bye.